So, good evening, students. Thanks for coming for the tea ceremony. This is the first time we are conducting a tea ceremony in Hayakawa. Do you know today is a special day? This is our 9th anniversary. So, we want to celebrate with you. So that's why we are celebrating today the tea ceremony and the Japanese homemade sweets. Thank you.
こんばんは。Thank you for coming Hayakawa and today thank you for joining this event. Actually we didn't inform this N5 and N3 student, but this is one of the good knowledge for Japan because this is one of the culture of Japan. This tea ceremony, it is traditional Japanese culture and Japanese sweets also. I think most of the people doesn't know what is Japanese sweets. So I want to introduce because knowledge of Japan is more, you have a more interest in Japan and Japanese language also. That's why such kind of event is very important for you. Sorry, I'm carrying this my baby, sorry. She also wants to enjoy with you. Thank you. First, I will introduce today's guest. We have 3 Japanese guests today. First, ready first. Mrs. Suzuki, thank you for coming. ありがとうございます。よろしくお願いします。She is a specialist Japanese sweets. So today we are going to make 2 sweets, 2 Japanese sweets. She will teach. And this one, while teaching, she will introduce Japanese only. This is good listening practice also. Okay? So if you don't understand, please ask entry students. Entry student, you have to inform N5 student. Okay? This is your task. Okay. Hi. And second, じゃあすみません、鈴木さん。はい。はい。ミスター鈴木。こんにちは。こんにちは。ありがとうございます。よろしくお願いします。よろしくお願いします。はい。ミスター野添です。よろしくお願いします。
My role is just eat and drink.
So, with enjoy. So, this is the Japanese culture. So, first, our student, Sanjay-san, he will introduce regarding Japanese sweets and tea ceremony. Please, what's this one? はい、お願いします。
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to first thank Mr. and Mrs. Suzuki and Mr. Nozoe for coming here. And I'd like to thank everyone else, our students, for coming down here as well. I won't be taking much of your time because I know everyone is eagerly waiting for tasting the sweets and tea. So I'll make it as short as possible. So Japanese sweets, anyone knows what it is called in Japanese? Anyone? Wagashi. Okay. Okay, wagashi is actually so 2 words. Wa is Japanese and kashi is sweets. So wagashi means Japanese Japanese sweets, and these confectioneries were developed under the influence of Japanese culture and traditions. In addition, many even Chinese cultures and Western cultures have been influencing the Japanese sweets and tea ceremony. So we'll look into how all this affected the Japanese wagashi. Okay. So we all know that there are 4 seasons in Japan, right? Autumn, spring, summer, autumn and winter. So every season has got its own unique wagashi, its own Japanese sweets for every season. So for summer you have one particular set of sweets, for winter you have one particular set of sweets, for summer and so on. So that's the beauty of a Japanese sweet, as you can see. As for spring, summer, autumn and winter. So it brings out the characteristics of every season in their sweets. And so we'll go into the history, how it all started. Like in the beginning, during the Yaoi era, which is from 300 BC to 300 AC, most of the natural fruits and berries and nuts were usually considered as sweets. And then the Nara era came in 710 AC to 784 AC. This is the time when the Chinese culture started to influence on Japanese sweet making. So during this time, what happened is the Chinese they developed rice processing skills, grain processing skills. So this was brought in addition with Buddhism into Japan, and it was inculcated in the making of sweets. So this is the time when mochi, the rice, sticky rice, and all the rice-based sweets were introduced. And these were generally used only for the religious purposes during this era. And then came Muromachi era. It was from 1336 AC to 1573 AC. This was the time when Japan was exposed for the first time to foreign trade, like with countries like Germany and Spain and Portugal. So during this time, sugar came in through the trade, and they introduced sugar into the making of sweets and all. So it was kind of a revolution. And then came the Edo period, which was from 1603 AC to 1867 AC. This was the peak of lots of innovations were made in wagashi making, and the usage also diversified. Before it was restricted only to the religious purpose. Now even every person in Japan was able to taste and make wagashi and eat. And then this was a time also when tea ceremonies were using wagashi as a ingredient, like I don't know, ingredient or as a okay. They started using wagashi for tea ceremonies as well. And next came the Meiji era. This was when Western culture, like Americans and British, they were influencing. The cakes came in, the desserts came in. So, and then because there was a lot of influence from Western culture, there came a need to differentiate between Japanese sweets and Western sweets. So, in the last part of the Taisho era, they coined the name wagashi in order to differentiate between both the sweets. These are not mainly Japanese sweets should not be seen as just something to be eaten. It is more of an artwork, you know, like it pleases all the 5 senses of like taste, touch, smell, and even hearing as well, even sight. There are very colorful sweets, and even hearing as well. Hearing, because they have such poetic names that it pleases our hearing. So it should be seen as an art of work rather than something to be eaten. And there is a rule of thumb for Japanese sweet making that it should not be more sweeter than a dried persimmon fruit. Or persimmon fruit, even I don't know what it is, but it looks like a tomato. Something like a tomato. So it should not be sweeter than a tomato. So its taste is fine, and it is a delicate work of art, you can say. And yeah. Okay, the ingredients, main ingredients used in Japanese sweet making are rice flour, sugar, sweet beans or beans, nuts, chestnuts. Even rice powder was also used for making sweets, and leaves and flowers, and also honey and sesame seeds. So everything is vegetarian. You don't have to worry about there being any non-veg stuff in the recipes. So yeah. Okay, next comes Sado. Sado is literally, it means the way of tea, way of making tea. This is the tea ceremony which okay, next. Okay, this involves the ceremonial preparation and presentation of matcha, which is green powdered tea. So this is for Sado. So next. Okay, let's see the origins of Sado. In the 9th century, a Buddhist monk named Eichu brought in tea from China. So in that time, there were not many innovations with tea making, but later in the 12th century, when Isai introduced, he also was a Buddhist monk, he went to China and came back with tea. He introduced the process of mixing hot water and tea powder together and whipping them together. So this was the first indications of tea ceremony in Japan since the 12th century. And then in the this is Mr. Isai. And in the 16th century AC, the tea ceremony spread to all levels. Before the 16th century, it was all medical purposes. Tea was used only for medical purposes, mainly for medical purposes. So, and then even for spiritual purposes, religion as well. So, and then in the 16th century, it spread to all levels of the society. Like tea ceremony was included in every strata of the society. And the main figurehead of the tea ceremony was Senno Rikyu. He was the one who fully developed the tea ceremony to what it is today. So he might as well be considered the father of tea ceremony in Japan. Tea ceremony itself. And founder of Sado. Okay, Senno Rikyu's philosophy is Ichigo Ichie, which means each meeting should be treasured, for it cannot be reproduced again. So this was the main philosophy, which was based on tea ceremony. We all it might be strange for us to look at tea ceremony that it takes so much time to pour tea and then drink it. So, but there is a long philosophy behind this, and it is a beautiful one too, because every meeting is a special one. We don't know whether we'll meet that person again in our life or not. So in that meeting, we are trying to give our utmost respect to that person and trying to make that meeting a memorable one. So that is why the tea ceremony has so many customs and rituals. The principles set forward are harmony, respect, purity, and tranquility. I'm taking a lot of time. Okay, let's move to the equipment. The main equipments that I use are chuck-in. This is a white rectangular linen cloth which is used to wipe all the tea bowls. This white cloth is the chuck-in. It is called chuck-in. And chawan. Chawan is a tea bowl. Most of people know it. And even chawans, there are different types of chawans for every season. They have got different even for I'll talk about thin and thick tea later. But even for thin and thick tea, they have got different kinds of chawan. And natsume is a tea caddy, that lid which you put on the tea cup. So, and shashako, the tea scoop with which you take the tea and pour it inside the water and mix it. This is a tea scoop, it will be very thin-like. And the chasen, tea whisk. This is used to whisk the tea with hot oil. So as I mentioned, like the Japanese sweets have, for each season they have sweets, and even the tea ceremony for every season, they have got different kinds of, their procedure varies. Even the shaping of the tatami mats vary. And even utensils used also vary for every season. Like for spring, it is a different set of tools, equipment they use. So it goes on like that. And so the thin and thick tea, there are two types of tea here. One is called koicha. This is thick tea. There is a lot of thick blend of tea is used inside water and it is kneaded together. Actually, this koicha is used. One bowl is made and it is shared among all the people who are there. But there is another one called usucha. This has 3 times less quantity of tea than the koicha. But this one, every person gets 1 cup of tea. It is not shared from one bowl of tea. And it has got some philosophical meaning as well. This is one great saying. In my own hands, I hold a bowl of tea. I see all of nature represented in its green color. Closing my eyes, I find green mountains and pure water within my own heart. Silently sitting alone and drinking tea, I feel these become part of me. This was said by Sen Soshitsu. He is the 14th Grandmaster of Urasenke School of Tea. I think that's about enough for this presentation. I think you should all enjoy the wagashi and salo. So let us all enjoy wagashi and salo. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sanjay-san. So, next, let's making wagashi. Today we are going to make 2 sweets. One is we call ohagi. 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 Okay. Can you write hiragana? 大丈夫ですか Okay, okay. はい。So, now we are doing demonstration. So after you can make.
That fan is on.
Yes, yes. This one, はい、あんこと言います。あんこ。It's a sweet beans paste. Sweet beans. あんこをスプレッド広げます。はい。餅。NEXT 餅はね、ジャパニーズライスケークです。ちょっとスティッキー。包みます。包みずらす。伸ばす、スプレッドして、ちょっとディレイ
ごちそうかなんかあります。さっきの茶
Charming. で、絞って making some round shape 丸くします。はい、はい、これはさいさん、はい、鈴木さん、はい、これがおはぎです。おはぎ。そう、はい、this please come. Each five, maybe five people able to come. はい。はい、こちら。
先生、バースデーが。
あ、今日誕生日。はい、おめでとうございます。はいはい。
Make sure you're going to spread it thick. Otherwise it will become like ours. Please take a spoon together. Yeah. This one. Make it. It's not coming
Yeah.
it is red beans Split it into a
Glad to Yadisri-san. Yeah, please.
I'm picking it up.
作ったら持って行って食べてください。Okay. After making, please bring and please try. 作って食べてください。 はい、綺麗です。
Next fight, please. Next fight.
Next は桜餅。Before the 桜餅 is ちょっと bit different. So はいはい。
Yes, yes,
Yes, please, please. Do you know sakura? Sakura is cherry tree, cherry blossom. So like a cherry blossom sweets in Japan. Yes. This is sakura mochi.
Sai-san.
Roll. さくらが作った桜餅。Last five. When I want to try. Right. Yes. Yes, please come. Sanjay sir, did you make try? No. This is. Yes, yes.
Ex Maruti employee. Yeah.
Please.
Anyone else wants to
食べましたか？How was that? 美味しいです。はい。Next is tea ceremony. But the tea ceremony is we need more equipment. So here we have only this minimum equipment only. So I will explain. This one, 茶碗 tea bowl です。tea bowl 茶碗。This one also one of the 茶碗。See, shape is a bit different. You can try this how to make, but please be careful. This is very easy to broken. Once you broken, we cannot make tea. Okay, please be careful. これが夏目。夏目 is keeping tea like tea powder. This is 夏目。This one is 茶筅 is mixing. And this is 茶杓 teaspoon. And it is different. 茶巾 is like a napkin, this towel we have, but this is different. Sometimes you can use. So just easy one. From the beginning, okay. Put in hot water and make it warm this table. And this hot water, throw it. And little bit wipe. And tea powder. Tea powder を入れます。私表なんです。裏は2個。ちょっと way of the tea bit different. I learned this だと表線形 and 鈴木さんだと裏線形。So way of the how to make it bit different. So but anything okay. So tea powder が入っています。There is tea powder.
抹茶
です。
抹茶ティーパウダー抹茶
No, this 茶筅でミックスします。Hot water and tea powder mix. And the last moment, my way is lighting no shape and keep it. Yes, but anything okay actually. So now finished. I think this is first time for you. Maybe there's a little bit divide and give it to you because it's without sugar. You can take this. Okay. Do you have sweets? Sweets ありますか？食べました。Okay, this is small sweets. Small sweets do you have? ありますか？ Before drinking tea, take this sweets and drink. Okay. はい。はい、right. スイーツを食べてお茶を飲んでください。OK？ はい。If you want to try making a tea, please come. はい。If you want to try, please come. Okay, please come. And you can do like that. ちょっとビターテイスト。Everybody drink? はいはいはい。まだまだ。はい。Everybody have? Okay, how was that? おいしい Okay. Somebody can volunteer because today 3 guests came. So please make it Japanese tea and give. Anyone can? You can do? Okay, this one. And another two. Okay, one more. Hi.ちょっと学生がいるとお茶をぜひ味わってください。Please watch how to drink. Yes,美味しいですか？あ、よかった 飲みます。
構なお手前で。
結構なお手前で、This is very good. なんかテイスティー、テイスティー。
After drinking, just whip out and then I have some.
はい。
This wine is normally the bottom from the and then after that we done this one and then thank you very much. This is a week, some manner.
So everybody have? Okay. Thank you. Thank you. じゃあ、ラストモーメント、冒頭のサービスをお願いします。
Good evening, everybody. It's been a very wonderful evening. And this is our 9th year anniversary. And the anniversary couldn't have been better than this. Because all of our students were also involved. And then we had, again, at every stage of our, growth, we had Suzuki-san. And Suzuki-san was a great explainer. So he explained things to you. Actually, you should hear him speak. Very good speaker, and you will learn a lot from his speeches. Thank you, Suzuki-san, for gracing this occasion. As always. And we've had another guest today, Musauri-san. Thank you very much for being here with us on this very important occasion. And I should also thank all the students here who have responded overwhelmingly. I've just asked some students today, N5 students, they've come all the way there from here, from Avadi here. They went back after the class and have come. So many of my students have responded to my personal invitation here and our invitation, and they have seen, many of our students have seen our Facebook posts and have come. So thank you all very much for spending this evening with us. So thank one and all for being here again, and hope to have your support in future also. In all for in any event we have, we will be hosting in future also. So thank you so much. Arigato.
So now we are making some photo session now.